So just the other day, one of my colleagues was washing what seemed to be dozens of paintbrushes in her sink. And as I was walking down the hall trying to leave school, she called out to me and said, "Elizabeth, I need some of your inspired classroom right now." And it was so funny. I looked at her and you could tell on her face she was really second guessing all of her life's choices in that moment. And I just started laughing out loud, and I stopped in my tracks and I turned around and I asked her, "What are you doing?" And she said, "We just did this art project and none of them came out really any good." And I said, "No way, I can't believe that." So I asked her what she had done. And when she pointed over to her floor, there were a class set of these really quite lovely art projects that her students had just finished. And I asked her about it, and I'll tell you what the activity was, because it was quite brilliant that she and her teammate had done just that afternoon. It was a beautiful project where they took the poem by Robert Frost, "Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening." They took a printed out copy of that poem and ripped it into strips and then made the strips into these beautiful winter trees. And it became this wonderful little winter landscape. But to be fair, let's think about what my wonderful colleague probably had just gone through that last couple of hours of school, right? Students trying things out and causing a little bit of chaos and going through probably a couple of different sheets of paper before they figured out what they were actually being asked to do, having trouble with their glue, maybe making a little bit of a mess when they were splattering some white paint to show the snow among the trees. And I looked at all their artwork and I looked at her and I said, "But these look so good." And she said, "Oh, they didn't really come out the way that I had hoped they'd had." And I said, "Listen, remember, this is about the process even more than the product." And she probably gave me a little bit of an eye roll, but that's okay. I think we teachers need to remember that every once in a while, that some of these things that you are doing for your students, especially this time of year or at those times of year when, you feel like you have a little bit more flexibility to do some of the creative things that you want to do with your students, it's a good opportunity to remember why you're doing them. And that, my friends, is focusing in on the process. You see, I think that students nowadays just don't have the opportunity the way they used to, or the way maybe we used to create things and glue things and paint things and cut things and rip things. That part of our existence, our creative existence, has kind of been stripped from us over the years, over the decades, over the generations. And because of that, it makes it even more difficult for us as teachers to allow for that time in our classrooms. But I am here to tell you that we need more of that in our classrooms. And if you've been listening to me or following me for any amount of time, I know that you feel that way too. So don't lose hope. Don't lose the motivation to bring these creative experiences into your classrooms. Because even if the product comes out like junk, even if the product doesn't come out anything the way that you thought it might, that process that your students went through was beneficial for them. And I can guarantee you that every single one of those students learned something. And that something might be so small that it's not even something that they realize, or maybe not even something that you realize. But that's the beauty of the creative process. We are constantly learning about ourselves. We're constantly developing these little skills that we need in life. And it can be as simple as how to use a glue stick correctly. It might be as simple as realizing you don't have the right materials and you don't have to ask the teacher to get it, you ask a friend. Those are the little moments that are really going to build students' character. And we can't overlook the importance of them and the opportunity that we have as teachers to bring that into our classrooms more and more. This is one of the reasons why I started doing studio days in my classroom, where students were able to intentionally go through the creative process. And once they did that, we had reflection time afterwards that would allow them the opportunity to really think about, what did they learn about themselves as they were going through the process. And so I want to encourage you, if you're doing something creative this month or any month of the school year, go ahead and try to cut out some of the time at the end for students to just reflect a little bit on the process that they took as they were doing their creating. And if you're really interested in the idea of having a studio day in your classroom, that is a book that I have actually written. It's called Studio Days in the Classroom, and you can find it inside my shop, theinspiredclassroom.com/shop. So to all you teachers that just needed a tiny little nudge in the right direction to remember how important it is for you to bring these experiences into your classroom, well, this is your nudge. I want to encourage you to do this more and more inside your classroom and do it for your students. And take note that anything that you do in your classroom is going to benefit your students. I can very much promise you that. And if you need a little bit of inspiration, like what my friend was calling out to me, she needed a little bit of inspiration, I want to encourage you to go and check out the Vault. I have opened up my Vault of teacher-centered workshops for the month of December. And inside this Vault, we have all kinds of workshops that are very, very affordable. You can earn PD certificates for any of the workshops that you choose. There are workshops in topics like student behavior, building relationships, SEL and SEAL, social, emotional, artistic learning, some creative teaching strategies. There are workshops in arts integration where I have things from music and movement and drama and visual art. And there are workshops specifically for you, the teacher, focusing in on creative teacher self-care. Listen, if you need that little spark of inspiration, I really want to encourage you to go and visit the Vault, okay? And check out what workshops I have available in there. Just go to theinspiredclassroom.com/PD, where you'll see all the workshops inside the Vault that you can choose from. This Vault is only open for the month of December, so go check it out. Go grab the workshops that are going to get you inspired so that you can then be inspiring to your students. This is Elizabeth Peterson, and I want to encourage you yet again to really consider bringing those creative experiences into your classroom. Your students need them, and they will help you to enjoy teaching again. I hope this episode inspired you, encouraged you, or gave you a fresh idea to try. And if so, I would love for you to take a screenshot and text it to one of your teaching buddies. I'm so grateful that you landed here with me today, and it would mean the world to me if you would leave me a review over on Apple Podcast. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll catch you on the next episode. This is Elizabeth Peterson reminding you to get inspired so you can be inspiring to your students and enjoy teaching again.